the guest card? Okay. Thank you for visiting. Anybody else want to own up to that? Okay. Now we'll move into our weekly affirmation. We come together to affirm and celebrate our unity, our oneness with each other, and with the source of all that is. In that spirit of unity, let us pause to enfold in light and love all people in our community and in our world. The candle of unity signifies the light within each of us and our connection to the source of all that is, and so it is. Together, let us affirm our faith. I have faith that God is my instant, constant, and abundant supply. I have faith that God provides ways when to human sense there is no way. I have faith that God is guiding me in all ways. My health, happiness, and success are assured. And now, Doug Lemire will read the Daily Word. Today's Daily Word is very fabulous. That's not really the Daily Word, but the Daily Word is fabulous. Thank you.
So good morning, everybody. I normally don't come to a spiritual center or church in shorts, but I got a pretty big boo-boo on my leg, and it's so that's it. So just don't look at it. Yeah, I think maybe the universe is telling me to slow down, because every time I start getting into a big project, I broke my toe. I get into another project, I drop a piece of wood on my leg, and I don't know. Maybe I should just sit on the couch for a while. But anyway, I speak the truth today. That's our word, pretty good word. And here's the reading. I speak my truth with clarity and compassion. Excuse me. About 4 lenses with those glasses. Living in an increasingly polarized world, I am aware not everyone will share my perspective or see life the way that I do. As much as I want to live harmoniously with others, I also want to stand up for what I believe, what I know is true for me. I appreciate that others feel the same way about their beliefs. I do. I speak my truth. I center myself in my divinity while acknowledging the divinity of all others. I am honest and grounded, staying steady if someone does not agree with me. And likewise, I receive others' truths as I would want them to receive mine. The presence of God is within me. I am a spiritual being living with integrity, speaking words of truth with spiritual power. And from Zechariah chapter 8, verses 16, these are the things that you shall do. Speak the truth to one another, render in your gates judgments that are true, and make for peace. So that's the truth.
Very good. I forgot my glasses, and I was begging God I was like, what are those words? Announcements are on the slide and on the back of your bulletin. If you have any specific prayer requests, please fill out a prayer request form located on the back table. Drop it in the prayer box, and our prayer team here and at Silent Unity will pray for you. And now, I'm going to introduce Reverend Judy to bring our message today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you. Our guest musician and speaker has run into some issues this morning, and we apologize for that. So apparently you've got me. And we do miss our musicians, don't we? I started to get up here and hum. We could hum, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river. Or we could do any number of things. But it's all good, and I'm so glad to see each and every one of you. And we'll just say a prayer for him, that all is well. All is well. All is well. We say that prayer for Jack Fowler. He's been around the New Thought arena for many, many years. He grew up in Mobile and has served in so many different ways. The thing that I always remember about Jack Fowler is the song that he composed and has performed numerous times, In the Silence. In the silence there is peace. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful song. So you can hold that in your heads right now. What an interesting week this has been. I wrote a little blog post the evening before August the 1st, thinking, wow, it feels like we're moving into a threshold here, the month of August. And they call the month of August, when you're talking about horoscopes, astrology, and that type thing, they talk about the Lion's Gate. And it has pretty much felt that way, hasn't it? That we're moving into a totally different type energy. So many things going on in the world, so many things that we wish were not going on in the world. We pray for peace, and then we're so surprised when we see war break out in all of these different places. We never would have guessed. We're so surprised. And this morning, I know that there are a lot of different reasons to pray. I would just ask, if you have a specific prayer request, would you share that with me now so that we may pray for it, if you're willing, if you have one. My husband told me there's a storm, maybe, storm headed this way, maybe forming, that would arrive here about August 16th. Is that right? They don't know. They tend to turn, but they don't always turn another way, do they? So we'll pray for that. Tony, prayer requests? Brother-in-law. Okay. Don. Okay. All right. Sean.
I don't remember his name, so I'll say Mary, return to health for Mary's brother-in-law.
Return to health for Mary's brother-in-law. That's good enough. Okay. Yes, Christy.
Prayers for my mom for just continued peace and healing, and prayers for the exceptional school. We start swimming next week.
Okay. Christy has asked for prayers for her mother, Helen, and she's had a rough few months after her husband, JR, passed away, and we just pray for her peace and well-being. And Christy is the principal at the exceptional school, and you're starting swimming next week, are you really? Lots of prayers there for Christy.
Thank you, Micah. Yes, and a prayer for the Lucky family who donated about $30,000 worth of equipment.
Wow.
To my school last week.
Okay. They had a donation of about $30,000 equipment. That's great. Great. Prayer of gratitude. Gratitude. Yes, ma'am. Doe. health for your dad, Doe's dad. Okay. Okay. All right.
Sister-in-law Margaret Medina is recovering from a stroke, and it's a little bit of improvement, but she needs a lot more before she can walk again.
Sister-in-law Margaret improving from a stroke. Okay. Alice?
For my son Martin, who continues to work in a very toxic element.
Alice's son. He works, where, say that again?
A toxic government environment.
Oh, toxic government environment. Ooh, prayers for him. Okay. All right. Yes, ma'am, Joan?
My gym instructor, Alicia, and a friend of ours, Jeff, for healing.
Alicia and Jeff for healing. Okay. All right.
And for our sister Julie, and strength for her to carry on as a caretaker for her husband, Jerry.
Okay. And Sister Jan and Joan's sister Julie. Okay. Healing. Okay. Caretaker. Oh, my husband's pointing to me and my family. Yes, I have an extended family member that lost an 18-year-old son Saturday morning. Some of my family that live, it's a great nephew that live in Georgia. In a tragic accident, he and the young man with him were both killed instantly. So just such a tragic thing. Lewis and I were talking about that this morning as we were waiting here in the sanctuary and in the quiet, and talking about the fact that so many times 18-year-olds, they're not wise enough to make some of those decisions that they need to keep them safe. They haven't grown into that maturity yet. And so we just pray for those situations and those families and all of those things that can come up when you have youngsters in your home, and how to make those decisions, how to help them make those decisions. We certainly do. So let's just take a moment, if you would, and take a deep breath, bringing love and life and all those things that are real. Let us just bring them into our reality right now. We acknowledge that we're not going to be in these bodies forever. It's not meant for us to be in these bodies forever. And when tragedy strikes, it is so hard. It is so hard, particularly the loss for the parents. It is so hard. But we know that's as much a part of life as it is for living. And we just ask that God will help us, the divine will help us to find divine purpose in this. Help us to look beyond when we are able. Look beyond what looks like senseless tragedy to the role that this might play in the lives of those who've known this one who has passed. How will this affect them? How will this tragedy change their lives? Maybe the younger siblings will be led to do something extremely meaningful with their lives We can't always see the consequences. All that we can see sometimes is the pain. So this morning, we just ask God, we would just ask that we could look beyond the pain in our own lives, our own families, those circumstances where it looks like there is no divine order to be had. Let us look beyond that, beyond the challenges, to say, what can I learn from this? What can we learn from this? How can we make our lives better and the lives of those around us? We just ask for healing for all of those that were mentioned this morning and those not mentioned. We ask for healing for ourselves, our family members, our community, and our world. We say thank you, thank you, thank you, God. Amen. Yes. Okay, Doug. Yes. Prayer of gratitude. We're all here. Right. Yeah.
Everything's, I understand the prayers, the requests for all those that are here, I got it. But, gratitude has to be right there too. And I'm very thankful for everything in my life right now.
That's wonderful, Doug. Doug is grateful for everything that's happening in his life right now and the prosperity that he's prayed for and has arrived. And we all feel that way too. I'd been thinking this week too how the sooner we can change when we feel like we're in one of those situations where we're saying, why me? Why this? Why now? Right? Those happen, don't they? They just happen to us. We just feel like we've got the world unfolding in the wrong way right in front of our eyes. And the sooner we can shift that from why, and just simply looking at that challenge, and the sooner we can shift that to that one question, what can I learn from this? What can I learn from this? What can I learn from this? And I know that I'm one that, and some of us were talking about that this morning. I've never had really great boundaries. It's something I've had to learn throughout my adult life, and I probably am still not real good at it. But, and I know a lot of you can probably relate to that too. But I think that the sooner I can stop, like if you know a situation's coming and you're thinking, oh no, I'm praying for divine intervention here so I don't have to say no. Or divine intervention, oh well, maybe this, that, or the other, and will provide me an excuse. I won't have to say no, or I won't have to confront the situation, okay? Maybe you all don't ever have to do that. Doug's waving.
But you're at that point, instead of saying that, say, God, give me the wisdom and knowledge to say
Yeah.
what I need to say.
Yeah. God give me the wisdom to say what I need to say. And that's exactly the right thing to do. And it's how I've been praying about situations now. Instead of praying for divine intervention, so I don't have to say no or set up healthier boundaries, I'm just saying, no. What I'm praying for here is that I will have the discernment, the courage. Yes, the courage. Tammy's affirming that. And the courage to handle this in the right and the best way. And so instead of praying for, and maybe there's some of you there here this morning that could use this prayer too. Instead of praying for divine intervention, let's just pray in this way. What is it that I need to learn in this situation? And may I learn it now and learn it well. So I don't need to keep going over this same old lesson over and over and over again. Anybody have that issue? Do you? Okay, well, isn't that a surprise? Isn't that a surprise? You know, one of the things I haven't been able to do this summer, and I was trying to get to everybody with our summer chat series is going to be over next Sunday with Glenn Ramos. He's here this morning. We said he doesn't even need me to ask him questions. He's pretty good at even coming up here and finishing on his own. But one thing I didn't get to do, wasn't able to interview Tony. Tony was supposed to be interviewed earlier in the summer, and he needed to go out of town to go to an uncle's funeral, right? Or funeral service. So I think that Tony is going to allow me to interview him for a few minutes this morning. Is that okay? Come on up, Tony. And by the way, where's your guitar this morning? We have an excellent group here, don't we? Just on the spur of the moment, we can be ready. We can be ready. So, y'all, I promise I won't do this to you. I knew that Tony would be willing, and but I won't do this to you guys. I know some of you have already told me, no, I don't want to be interviewed. So, Tony, I understand that you and Andrea have known each other, and her little brother John have known each other for years. How did that happen?
Well, I was stationed in Gulfport in 1978. I came here when I first went to boot camp and A school, and that's how I got to the coast from Virginia. I was originally from Virginia. And on the latter part of that tour, Andrea and her family moved to Gulfport. Her father was in the Seabees, and I was after my first enlistment. I thought that I would do better on the outside than the inside, and was going to get out of the Navy. And what they do if you've got not enough time to deploy again, because that's what Seabees do, is deploy, and they give you some kind of job on the base till it's your time to separate. Well, you never know it, but I was a lifeguard at the military pool. And when Andrea came to Gulfport and she'd finished college and was seeking new opportunities as kind of a thing, she was a lifeguard at the family pool. And we actually took the same life-saving class together, and I think I was pretty much a show because I wasn't the greatest swimmer. Usually in the military, they don't ask you if, a lot of times what skills you have. They says, oh, by the way, show up to the pool, you're going to be a lifeguard for the next 3 months or 4 months, and you had to make it work. So that's how we met, in a lifeguard class at the CP base. And then I pursued that opportunity and was somewhat accepted, and We dated till I transferred. We were together for about 8 years. And then the Navy sent me somewhere else. Andrea had a really good job. He'd gotten a good job here, and being a military family, thought that she wanted to maintain that career path and work. And we just assumed that I would come back to Gulfport, because that's what Seabees do. They go to Gulfport or Port Hueneme. And when that time came for me to transfer from Norfolk, Virginia, they sent me to California, of course. You know, you always said put what you don't want on there, because they're not going to give it to you, and they'll send you somewhere else. Because I put Gulfport, and they sent me somewhere else. So that's how we met, and how we kind of were separated in our relationship, and we both had families of our own. That's you know, I was married and Andrea was married, and we didn't have any children. And then we reunited years later. You know, so that was like 89, I think, was when I got transferred to Norfolk, and then we reunited in 2019.
Wow.
So
Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? So you're from Virginia, and I know you had the pain of living in Key West for several years, right?
it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was just
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah. And you moved from there to here.
Yes.
Okay.
I did.
Gladly gave it up, did you?
Well, you know, and being from Virginia, and I grew up in the Norfolk area, actually Hampton, Virginia, and it's mostly military, whether you're Air Force or Army or Navy, it's just a lot of military there. And when I left there in the Seabees, there was so much more opportunity in other places. And so it didn't even cross my mind that I was going back to Virginia. And then my last duty station, well, it wasn't quite my last, but I was stationed in Key West. And I retired out of Key West. So then I actually lived there for 25 years.
Wow.
And,
Wow.
and then when we reconnected, just a little quick, because she, you know, we were talking on a telephone. I'd made a trip to see her over here, and she came to Key West and made a trip there, and we were saying, well, what do you think about me relocating back to the coast? And she said, well, I think that'd be great. I said, well, because you know, it'll take a year to sell my house, and you know, and you can come and visit. And so she's expecting all these trips, and I put it on the market, and it sold the first day. You know? So she was like, well, wait a minute, what about my trips? So we have many of those still planned. We've been back, and we intend to go back more. And so.
Yeah. Well, you and Andrea took a trip a couple of weeks ago, was it? You went to Las Vegas?
We did.
We now have out of Gulfport a direct flight to Las Vegas, I understand, and you enjoyed it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've been to Vegas, you know, several times, and Andrea had been as a child, and so that straight flight on breeze makes it real easy, and just to pop in for a few days and then come back. So, but you know, Vegas is one of those places where you don't have to gamble. I'm not a gambler. Andrea doesn't. We didn't drop a single coin in a machine. Even that's not how you do it anymore. But we had a fantastic time. You know, did the pool in the morning and did inside air conditioning shows in the afternoon and evening, and shared a plate every evening. So we were economical, and we had a good time.
Well, good.
And we hope to have many more trips. We're actually going to Fort Myers at the end of the month. So we're just going out for a few. I got a brother in Tampa,
Okay.
and I'm going to stop in and see him. And Naomi, our friend Naomi, is in Tampa, and then we'll go down there and then backtrack it and get back just in time before the holiday weekend, you know. So.
Well, I know that unity teachings may be different for you. It is something that you eased into with your relationship with Andrea. How do you feel about it now? Do you still cling to some of those foundational principles from your early religion and childhood, or anything about that you'd like to share with us?
Well, I grew up in a Methodist-based family. Everybody was Methodist, and they were participating Methodist. I mean, it was like the whole family, aunts, uncles, their whole lives, and that was a big part of our life was church.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's kind of like growing up, like you discussed some, that you hear things that you makes you wonder, makes you question, and I'm not sure that in any religion, just from human nature, we would do the same thing, whether it's Catholics or whatever. And so as you become an adult and leave, and again being in the military, everything was so diverse. There was people from all over. There was people of different cultures. And they would have one church service.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't matter whether or not you were what color your skin or what. And so to live in that manner, I was comfortable. So coming back here, Andrea said she attended Unity and all, and the open armness of Unity, the non-judgmental value I see in our services, based on doesn't matter, just come and sit and pray. And I've always tried to. I keep one thing in mind. My mother taught me this as a boy, to live by the golden rule.
Right.
So every day, live by the golden rule and be kind. And I think that has to be enough, in the sense of whether you go to heaven, or I know we don't really believe in hell, but afterlife, of what your afterlife becomes. If you live a good life while we're here, live by the golden rule, that everything will be okay.
Yeah.
And it'll come back to you in that same way.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen. Well, that's a good thing to believe. You made me think of something, though, while you were saying that I've heard there's a new way of framing the golden rule, and that is not to treat others the way you'd want to be treated, but there's just a little bit different edge to it now, and that is to treat others the way they want to be treated. Does that...
I think I'd have to think about that.
Okay,
for a few minutes.
okay.
Because I have friends that want me to treat them a certain way, and it ain't going to happen. So,
Okay.
it just ain't going to happen.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm just being a little, comical there.
Well,
but
that's usually something I should have asked a woman, because women usually are the ones with the intuition to sort of, oh, I think I know how you're feeling right now, that sort of thing. But no, it was just something I've heard more of lately. I thought I'd throw it in there just for something
I'll
you
pray
think
on-
about
I'll
that.
pray on that
He's
one.
going to pray on that. So when did you start with music? Was it the guitar first, or?
No. As a youth, I was a percussionist. I played the drums. I had joined the school band in junior high school. Was kind of short-lived. I was in the band just a couple of years, but we had a choir director at our Methodist church who was the band director for elementary. They had elementary school band in Newport News, Virginia, and so she gave music lessons, and she was also our church choir director. So, but she was pretty smart in the sense that, so she kind of gave me free drum lessons, private drum lessons growing up, on the fact that whenever she needed me to play at church, that there was some obligation there. And so on certain holidays, like for the Battle Hymn of the Republic and things like that. So I learned, I started playing percussions, and then when I joined the military, you can't take a drum set with you. So, you know, just being stationed overseas, you're sitting on little islands, different places with not much to do after work. And people would just pick up the guitar or pick up whatever. So it was probably, I don't know, I was in my late 20s when I first started playing guitar a little bit, and just kept on playing a little bit. It probably wasn't until I started coming here that I've been able to practice more and play more and have more opportunities to play. I never really played in front of anybody till here. And I just started playing the bass a couple of years ago after Dennis left. Charles, I think maybe Sherry might have edged him on, but Charles came to me and asked me if I ever thought about playing the bass, because I had never played the bass before. And I said, well, no, not really. He says, well, why don't you think about it? So next day I went online and bought a bass, and about 3 weeks later I was sitting in one of those blue chairs there, trying to follow the music a little bit. And
The chairs of honor.
you know, so I've been blessed with that, to be with all of the musicians here, whether it's on Friday night or Guitar Circle or whatever, because it's given us, you know, that opportunity to, I think I told them when I first started, they said, well, would you do this? I said, yes, I'd love to do it as long as we're having fun, as long as this is not become a job, as in the sense of whatever, and it never has. And so we enjoy it and we have fun with it, and we're learning from each other, and whether it's you bring a new piece of music that may not have been presented to that group of people, or they show me some things on the guitar or the bass, and when I'm lucky, every now and then they let me sing. So not very often, but they got a deal with Marcus up there. He turns my mic off.
Oh, I definitely know that's not true. I know you've helped me out a time or two when I was asked to lead a memorial service, and the musicians had just spent a lot of time rehearsing and performing at another one, and I hated to ask them again for another Saturday. And so we went through the week and thinking about music, and I was thinking about what could I play on the piano that would be acceptable and that would be okay. And then Friday, the day before the service, I called Tony and I said, Tony, I need your help. I need you tomorrow. And he came and he performed and did an absolutely beautiful job. What's that song, the one that... Go Rest High on That Mountain. Oh boy, that was beautiful. That's the one that I had in mind. That I'd been thinking about it all day and thinking that would be perfect for this particular service and the people that I knew would be there and how much they would appreciate it. And Tony, of course, said, yes, I'll do it. And I appreciate that about you. I appreciate the fact that you take so many calls about the maintenance of this building, this facility. It may look like it just gets done on its own, but Tony has a team, and as a matter of fact, if any of you would be willing to serve on a team, we have several categories that you could sign up for, and I'll have a list next week. I guarantee you that you could sign up for anything that you'd choose. One is the worship committee, and then fellowship, and then of course Tony heads up the building and maintenance. And it's a big job to volunteer for there's always a lot going on, isn't there?
Well, little things, and that's what matters. And Dan's done it for many years, and when I first got here, Dan was probably the prominent maintenance person, and then everybody in here, if we've ever made a phone call, have never heard the word no. So it's not just me or Dan. It's if we have a cleanup day, or if we have a bigger day. Like I remember when the garden outside was really like a little desert almost, and
Right.
that's when JR was with us, and Rosa was with us, and we had a good day. We sodded and laid brick, and we never hear the word no, which is what's really nice about everybody here. So, in fact, we had those conversations this weekend. I'm going on travel next week to Virginia, and I know Dan's planning a trip just made a couple calls. I got a call from Joey. I made a connection to Doug, and now we have a whole another setup from when we're not here, and just the word no is never there, so that's really good. Yeah.
Well, we certainly appreciate that, and that's what makes it so special to belong to a group like this and to have this community, is that they become your absolute best friends. Your the friends, the people you want to be with on Sunday mornings or whatever days that you're blessed to be with them. And we give thanks every Sunday for that. And I guess I've been thinking about it a whole lot this week too, about how important that is in your lives, especially if you do live away from where you have other family. Your church family takes its place. And that's just the way it is, and incredibly, incredibly important to keep that connection. That we appreciate everything you do, Tony. You're just a blessing to us, and we know you're a blessing to Andrea. And I was just fascinated to find out how your friendship had lasted. It was so many years ago, and then I think you told me once, and now I'm going to, John Canageiser is purposely not meeting my gaze. He's hiding. He's afraid that I'm going to say something about him to include him in this conversation. But now, John is Andrea's little brother, and you knew him at a time when he was growing up, right?
I did. Well, he was in high school.
He was in high school.
Right.
And then when he was supposed to go into the service, I understand something happened that prevented that. What happened that day?
Well, I wasn't sure. John was pretty much wide open in high school. If there was an empty jet ski, he'd be on it. If there was he came from Hawaii, and he was a surfer. So you come here and there's no waves, right? So what do? You get his dad's speedboat and go as fast as you can with John behind it on his surfboard. And that was before boogie boarding. So that was kind of our situation.
Okay.
And I had ridden motorcycles most of my life, and then John decided to get a motorcycle. And so I was always like, oh no, I hope that wasn't my influence that he wanted. But really, one of his best friends owned French Honda, and he was all around that anyway. But I was coming off the CB base, heading towards the Canageiser's home, and there was an accident on Pass Road ahead of me. And I could see a motorcycle strewn over this side of the road and a body laying in the middle of the road. And it was John. And I pulled up, immediately got off, and addressed the officers. And luckily, he wasn't severely injured, but he broke his arm. And he's a military dependent. His dad's in the military, so Keesler, emergency, et cetera, et cetera. Then I went and got the family, because I think your dad was on deployment and he wasn't there.
He was coming home to swear my brother
Right, so John was getting ready to go into the Navy. And a week after that, he was supposed to enlist in the Navy. His dad was supposed to come home. I'm not sure where he was, but he was on deployment to come home to swear him in. And that got put on delay because of the broken arm. And then between the accident and when he healed, the captain and John, their dad was a captain in the Navy, and they had come up with an alternative plan of John going to school, continuing his school in a trade school in Greensboro and all the above. So yeah, so that's kind of, you always, you don't want to see any type of accident, but when you come up and you start recognizing things, yeah, I knew the motorcycle, I knew, once immediately who it was, so.
Interesting. Well, maybe divine intervention was good in that case, John. What year was that?
It went 83, 84, 84, yeah, 83, 84, yeah.
I can't remember which armed conflicts there were after that, but maybe John was spared that because he had that accident. Maybe that was divine intervention, John. We'll just claim that. I thought Andrea's dad was in the Seabees too.
It terrified me.
Oh.
Well, when we first started dating, I knew that we used to have the sticker on the windshield of the cars, and she wouldn't give me very much information. She was holding back, and because I was an enlisted guy, and all I knew was there was a full bird sticker on her car, and she wasn't married, so I knew that was her dad's and sticker, but he was deployed, so it was okay. I'm thinking maybe he just won't. He'll stay deployed or something. But no, he came home, and we met, and what a fine man he was. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He sure was. And where did you go around the world?
Well, again, Seabees deploy. For those who don't know what Seabees do, we do construction work for the government overseas. Advanced base development, runways, buildings. We do a lot of work with the Marine Corps and their MEPs, and they go in and clear our area out. We go and put the base in, put a runway in, whatever. And that's the short version of the mission statement. So to be forward deployed puts you in a place of readiness that if you were needed in a time, then you're already there. Well, I was pretty much a Cold War military person. There was some conflicts while I was in, but not major. I mean, we had the first Desert Storm when I was in. I was on a island in the Indian Ocean when we had the Lebanon hostage crisis. We were on standby out in the Indian Ocean for that. But I really didn't have to put boots on the ground in the desert. So I always say I'm thankful for that. I've done a couple. My previous wife, ex-wife, she was a school teacher, and so a couple times we're invited to talk to students about the military on special occasions, and it was always kind of strange. I felt it strange. The first thing they always ask you is, "Did you ever kill anybody?" I mean, it's just here's a 13-year-old. Want to know if you ever had to kill anybody, and I was always grateful and to say that I didn't have to, and that I hadn't, and I was blessed for that. And so they were conflicted with my answer. How could you be in the military and then, so. But in what we do in the Seabees, like you say, we were always in the mix of things, but we were over there doing construction work. So I deployed 10 times. I lived anywhere. I was in Diego Garcia twice. I was in Puerto Rico twice. I lived in Greece. I lived in Spain. I lived in Guam, Palau, Okinawa. I traveled Japan, throughout Japan on an inspection team for a year. Alaska, but we were working. So
Right.
And that's our story. I'm not gonna comment on that anymore. We were working. And Doug also was a CB. And
That's right.
when Doug first came, we made a connect. We were actually in the same battalion at the same time on the same deployment and didn't know each other. You know?
Wow.
And had mutual friends. But, you know, we pulled the old cruise book open and there he is.
I think Doug has a photo of himself were you receiving a medal from Andrea's father? Yes, that's what I thought. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so a lot of connections.
My goodness. Okay, well, was there anything else you'd like to share with us, Tony?
No, not really. I just, you know, we all pray for peace. We all hope for the best, and we all hope to be happy. And
Right.
That means different things to different people. And whether it's money, whether it's just contentment or whatever, but it's never too late to go to that place to be happy. And that's whether it's up here or somewhere else. There's no reason to wait any longer because we may not be here tomorrow, you know. So let's be happy today, you know.
That's good. Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Tony, thank you very much. That was so interesting. What a great way to get to know everybody in here is by these little interviews. I mean, people are incredibly interesting. You never know, though. You sit next to them and you have no idea. So, and I also want to tell you, I have learned over the years fabulous ways to say no to people. I am going to say no, but it's going to be awesome. And then I've also, when I know I have to ask somebody a yes or no question, particularly if you invite them somewhere or whatever, I've learned how to ask outstanding questions to give people an out to where, you know, if they want to say no, I want them to be comfortable enough with me to say no. So I don't ever give people a guilt trip when they say no. I just tell them thank you because, you know, the way that you get the guilt trip is when you say no and they start with all these facial things. Oh, you can't? And I'm like, I just said no. But you don't. So don't do that to people. Allow them to be able to tell you no graciously without saying, you sure? Like I just think I said no. Or I thought I said yes, and you said I'm sure, I don't know. Now I'm not questioning myself. So our offertory prayer, thank you, Tony, and thank you, Reverend Judy, for always making our service amazing. Now we give expression to our appreciation for all that is offered here at Unity of Gulfport. Please take your offering in your hands and say along with me, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love and I trust in God. Thank you. Did y'all want me to sing? Yes, the Christ in you. Woo! Very good.
We know the words, guys. We know that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're grateful for everything today, and we just pray for Jack's well-being, a blessing on him, and hopefully everything is okay. We thank you, God, for this place, this sacred fellowship that we have together. We just ask that all of these gifts that were so lovingly given will be blessed and used for the absolute highest good. So it is. Amen. Let's bless these children, these youth. Come on down. Good morning. Morning. Okay, and with meaning, we're going to send these kids a lot of great energy so they can become the best they can be. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. Behold the Christ in you, empowering you to do great things. So it is. Amen.